Hello and welcome back to review for week 1 and primer for week 2 of The Artist's Way. Today for me is my 7th day. It is my final day of week 1. And what I'm going to be doing is going over maybe some tids and bits, some tidbits of what happened this first week. I'm also going to be showing some like vlogging footage. Just in case I don't though, forget I said that. But if I am, here you go. So I thought I had just finished my morning pages and I was going to check in. And then I realized I didn't do my affirmations. But before I got to those, I did want to say a few things about that. Well, before even that, I want to say this. It might be helpful to get like a wrist pad. I think that's what they're called. That's the one that I've used with my keyboard when I used to use a mechanical keyboard back in the day. So I don't want to accidentally injure myself because I'm all of a sudden doing this super journaling is what I'm going to call it. But that's also tied into the way that you hold your writing instrument, which is another thing that I noticed the first time I did The Artist's Way. Why am I holding on so tightly to the pen? Like, why am I clutching for dear life? And then I learned to relax. And I realized that that was something that I needed to constantly tell myself to do. And it also has to do with the content of what was in the morning pages. So if I was hitting something that was strong or that felt uncomfortable, I was going to be clutching that pen tighter. And I learned to be more aware of stuff like that. Because, you know, learning your body and being aware is like, I feel, a lifelong process, even for people who have been athletes in their youth and also lifted weights or have been lifting weights consistently for the past almost 15 years. Is insane that you're still learning things about your body. But of course, as we age, our bodies change, yada yada. Anyways, Jasmine, get to the point. She gives you affirmations to start off with if you can't come up with some on your own. And these are very specific to her, right? And to the way that she thinks certain people should talk to themselves or whatever. But if you are, you know, a pagan, or if you are a witch, if you are of a different spirituality that doesn't center God with the capital G, then modifying these is just going to make it easier for you, and not just modifying it on paper, but actually crossing things out in the book. And that's something that I did throughout the entire book. Every time she said God or even creator, I scratched it out, or I didn't scratch it out, but you know, I scribbled it out. And then I replaced it with whatever I was feeling at the time. The first affirmation she writes is, I am a channel for God's creativity and my work comes to good. I changed that to, I am a channel for the gods and goddesses' creativity and my work comes to fruition. So I'm just kind of like putting that out there just in case somebody's seeing this for the first time and they're wondering what the fuck I did. That's what I did. So yeah, every single time I saw something, or even if there was a whole affirmation where I'm like, I don't like that, or that's not empowering me enough, or that doesn't really align with me or my situation, then I would modify it. So the idea is these are like jumping off points, and then you curate them and customize them to fit your needs and where you need to empower yourself and where you need to go. So right now I'm waiting on a friend. I came to her very first sound bath. She's going to be doing the first one by herself. I'm so proud of her. So of course I'm here to support. I'm just waiting for her to arrive. I did come a little early just in case she needed some help setting up. I did wake up and do my morning pages. I didn't get to my affirmations right away, which is similar to yesterday, but I did go back and do them yesterday, and I'm gonna go back and do my affirmations today when I get back too. The cool thing about doing your affirmations after the first time is you can use the same ones, or you could use those to like deepen your affirmations or get very specific about them if you weren't that specific with your first round of affirmations, or if you were just copying down and slightly modifying the ones that Julia gives you. But yeah, those are the updates as of now. This is also the furthest I've ever drove my truck. And it's an experience, that's for sure. I think that I was also like, I felt a little rusty because I hadn't drove my truck all week until today. And then the first time that I'm driving it after not driving it for a week is not even in the city. It's like, it's not even in the same county, actually. It's in a different county. But, you know, we survive. And that's another reason why I wanted to get here early, is for parking, because this is a big truck and I'm still getting used to the parking. It is what it is, but I'm so glad that I found ample parking, because I do not feel comfortable parking in between cars right now. I just feel like I just don't want to accidentally hit anything right now. I'm being overly cautious. Maybe I'll show you my truck when I get out. I'm just getting distracted by people coming in and out. But I think that this is a shared lot with this business back here, which is like an auto body shop or something like that. Found these little guys. I put them in here so that they wouldn't get lost. I don't know whose they are, so I'm not gonna take them with me, but I thought they were pretty cool. Reporting live at the end of the day of day 2. I finished doing my affirmations, and then I've also done a couple of the other tasks for this week, so I feel like I'm on track, but I am spent for the day. I did want to comment on something earlier, but I wanted to get consent from my friend before I went ahead and shared this. But going to that sound bath was very like full circle moment for me, and then I shared it later on with her. But her hosting her own sound bath by herself, because she's been hosting sound baths now, I don't know how many months, but I think it's definitely over 6 months now, with another person. And it's something that she's been working towards. Like, she wants to do more than just that, but like that was like one of the stepping stones. And the reason that she was doing it with somebody is because it made it easier for her. So this being the first one that she did on her own was such a huge milestone, and I thought it was just so perfect to talk about, because that was one of the things that, or that was one of the reasons why she did the Artist's Way the first round in tandem with me, because there were goals that we had that are scary to do. Like, I don't know, I feel like if you're not scared of your goals, then you're not dreaming big enough, right? And for some of us, that looks a lot smaller or bigger than for other people. So that's obviously subjective, but I think that your goals should scare you a little bit. And sometimes they scare us so much that we get frozen, or we procrastinate, or we make excuses as to why we can't be making the moves towards that thing. And it's just so beautiful to be able to be there for her and see her doing something that is big for her. And I just can't wait to see what else this uncovers for her, because once you make that, once you're done with the first time, right? Like the first of whatever that thing is, it's like you no longer can try to psych yourself out by saying it's going to be all these things, because now you have the experience of what that thing was like. And it's almost like, what is evidence that you can do that and so much more. Because I think that the first thing that comes to mind is, but did you die? Like, that's, you know, like when people say, but did you die? But did you die? When they're talking about doing something that was very scary or something that they were very scared of. That's like the first question, as a joke, right? Because, you know, but I don't know. I just wanted to say that real quick because it was a very beautiful moment. But I'm spent. And the morning pages aren't difficult at all. I feel like I picked those up like if I had never stopped almost. It's just being very conscious of how much time they take me, so that when I have certain things scheduled to do that day, I don't end up being late for them. Yeah, that's like the main thing that I've noticed so far. And for one of the tasks, I guess I could talk about this way more, but I don't know. I think I'm going to turn this into like a vlog style thing. I was debating on it, but if I have a lot to share, then fuck it. Why not share it? You know, there's people that literally have nothing to share on the internet, and I have too much to share. So why the fuck wouldn't I, right? I need to take advantage of these gifts that I've been blessed with. The gifts. I crack myself up. Yeah, so one of the tasks has you listing these imaginary lives. So if you're like, oh, if I could like live any other life, like what would I do or what would I be? And she mentions like a couple of things on there as examples. And then she has you pick one and do something that somebody that lives that life would do. And I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with yet, because I've only written down a few and I know that there's more that just haven't come to mind. But she lets you, well, it's not like you're not allowed to, but she continues to bring up these imaginary lives, because as you progress through the Artist Way, you're going to realize that you have so much more that you would like to try once you decide that you have the freedom to choose anything. And I think that that's the point, right? Because a lot of us are like, imaginary lives, like, what's the point? You know, I think that's like the worst. I think that's the most obvious, that you're like shutting yourself down, is you saying that sentence to yourself about, especially a lot of things, but even just once, of like, what's the point? If I start getting into that type of thinking, I know that I need to like stop and reflect and figure out what the fuck is going on, because I am quickly going down a road that does not serve me. But anyways, when I choose what I'm going to do for the imaginary lives, then maybe I'll share. I don't know. I'm debating on that. So the things that stand out for me this week is the amount of chaos that I was not expecting. My first round with the Artist Way, I had a lot more time on my hands. I was a lot more free, or at least it definitely started off that way. And this time that is not the case. I started, like, I'm doing the Artist Way the second round because I want to get to another level of what I started when I first did the Artist Way. So because I went from not doing it to doing it the first round, I think that's why it was a lot easier in the beginning the first time. This second time, I'm already doing things. So I'm already like got a pretty decent schedule, right? And then now I'm adding the Artist Way into that. And that's something that I didn't know. I guess I wasn't expecting it to feel like this, even though I kind of did have a feeling it was going to be a little chaotic. I just didn't know exactly how that was going to go. And I definitely got a taste for that this week. It also did not help that for the first time ever in the last like 10 years, I went from going to the gym / working out in the afternoon or night to now doing it in the morning. And that's a big shift. That's a big change. So it's also my body and my sleep patterns getting used to that. And then add on top of that, needing to wake up early regardless, because of having to allocate that time for the artist pages, morning pages in the morning, right? And the way that that went was, I think I was able to do my artist pages. I mean, I made myself finish my artist pages every single day, including the affirmations that you're supposed to do every single day for week 1. I completed them, but I was never able to do all of that in one go, like one sitting, like one session. The first week had a lot of things come up that, like, I thought I was gonna breeze through the first week. I didn't think things were gonna start feeling sticky or hairy until we got in a few weeks, and I think that hopefully the opposite's true. Why did I do that? I meant to do this. Hopefully the opposite is true. Anyways, I still get a little, like, I don't know if I would call it camera shy, but I get a little, maybe the word is awkward. When I'm recording these videos, I feel myself coming back to feeling normal doing it, but because I was gone for so long and then I would pop in like rarely, like getting out of that habit is also been a journey. And you know what they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. So like, I'm really good with speaking with people on video, on like one-on-one, or if I'm doing like a tarot reading, I'm fine. Whether it's through video or in person. But when I'm vlogging or recording myself, like here, I still get a little bit of what I used to get back in the day, which is I'm in my room by myself talking to a phone, like, and yeah, whatever. We could make a whole video about every single thing that I've said so far, because I can blabber on for so long, and I even said that in my artist pages. But anyways, back to the check-in. So I did my check-in, by the way, you have to check in at the end of each week. That's part of like the Artist's Way criteria, right? You have to check in every day. You have to check in at the end of every week. So this is like me doing my check-in live, but I did write it down. So the first question that they ask you is, did you do all your artist pages every day? The answer is yes. I already discussed that with you guys. The second question, and this is where I failed. Okay, this is where I failed. They ask if you did the artist date. And I had mentioned in the previous video that I already knew where I was going to do my artist date, that I was going to go to a botanical garden that is, I kid you not, like 15 minutes away from me. And like, I haven't even, only gone, I think, twice in my life. And like, why am I not taking advantage of being in this beautiful nature and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't go. and let me tell you why. Okay. So number one thing I want to say is that past version of me, the version of me that did the Artist Way the first time, would have been like, you didn't do the artist date like literally the first week? Are you fucking kidding me? You're not even built for this. Why are you even doing this? I'm not even joking. That's how I talk to myself. That's how I talk to myself. Okay, I'm a fucking bully. So that's not what happened this time. And I don't feel guilty about it. And I think that's why I'm even willing to share this, because a past version of me, not only would I have been extra mean to myself, I probably would have wanted to forfeit the whole thing, because it wasn't like I was already fucking up, right? And then, even then, I might have not even wanted to even confess that. I might have wanted to keep that to myself, because it was showing you how I failed. And nothing is more like, oh, cringe to me than that, right? But we're different now. We're growing. But yeah, I didn't do my artist date. And there's so many things that led to this. But like I said, this was a very busy, chaotic week with a lot of the things that I had going on. One of those major things also being the fact that today I am about to be on the road on my way to Yosemite. Past Jasmine might have been like, I don't know if I can fit that into my schedule. I don't know if I could afford to be leaving for that many days. It's not even that many days. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. Like, I prioritize my spirituality and my work, my witchcraft, over like everything. And that has me wanting to say no to a lot of things that would create a more artistic life, which sounds kind of like contradictory, because to me, the craft in itself is artistic. It is being creative. You are creating, you are manipulating energies, you are manifesting into your life, your reality, things that you want to be there that maybe not be there in the capacity you want, you know, whatever, all of that stuff. So it's not that art, being an artist, and being a witch, witchcrafting, practicing your craft, are completely separate at all. If anything, they're all linked together. And I feel like I keep doing this. I think I did it in the last video. But yeah, there's a huge link there. Wow, how long is this video? I haven't even gotten into week two. And then I totally dropped off on the conversation about why I didn't do the artist date. But I guess it doesn't matter. I'm still going to try my best to make up for that artist date next week. But I'm not like going to punish myself or hold myself under some kind of strict rule to do so. If the opportunity presents itself, if I for some reason have a little bit extra time where I can squeeze in an extra artist date somewhere down the line, I will be doing that, because eventually she does have you extending your artist date to become a whole day. So I never actually did that the first time around either, by the way. But anyways, artist date did not happen. Okay, artist date, it just did not happen. And then the third question in the check-in is, were there any other issues this week that would you consider significant? I think I already went over those. I think I kind of did a little bit of word vomit there, but hey, maybe you get something out of it. Maybe you don't. Doesn't matter. I don't think so, because this is my version of doing this. And, you know, putting this out on YouTube is also a part of like my artist recovery, because I already wasn't being consistent on YouTube, right? So me being able to put this out there, but also be able to talk as much as I'm talking and not have to edit back so much is also part of healing that visibility wound, but also a huge part of being able to continue to put things out there so that they're not stuck in here. Because I would rather you have to roll your eyes at seeing that this video is extra long than me have to deal with the repercussions of holding things in that I feel need to come out in order for me to continue to, you know, live the life that I want to live, continue to put things out there that I want to put out there, especially the things that actually require more effort. Because I cannot put out something that is of high quality if I can't even put out the low effort, low quality stuff. And that's something that I learned about myself. And Julia kind of touches on this in her book, but I'm not going to go ahead and say that this is true for everyone, because who knows? Maybe you're one of those people that your perfectionist is so deeply ingrained into you that you can actually produce like pretty damn perfect things, and you don't have to go through this phase of, you know, producing shitty quality and then moving into progressing and getting better and being able to actually, you know, get to the more fine-tuned things and it not be such a daunting task. But like I said, I'm not speaking for everybody here. Okay, let's move on to talking about week 2. I am going to be starting my week 2 while I'm in Yosemite. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to be coming back, let's see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to be coming back Sunday. So I'll be coming back on the 3rd day of the Artist's Way, but I won't be home a whole day until the 4th day of the 2nd week. So my artist date needs to happen as soon as I get back, basically. That's how it's gonna work out the best for me if I want to get it done. I'm still planning on going to the botanical gardens, by the way. But yeah, so I'm gonna be in Yosemite till Sunday. I'm still gonna be doing the morning pages out there. I'm gonna be taking I'm not gonna take the book because I'm trying to pack somewhat light, and I'm just gonna take the journal. Of course, I'm taking tarot decks. Not that that was part of this question, but there was no question. Anyways, not that that was a part of this, but I'm just going through my head, like, what am I taking? I'm taking the journal, pens, tarot decks. Everything else is like things that you take when you pack. What else? Yeah, so I already finished reading week 2. I'm going to be taking my journal and I'm going to take pictures of some of the tasks or the task pages so that I have that with me, so that if I have some extra time, I do some stuff out there, but I'm not holding myself strictly to that just yet. I'm also not trying to prolong my weeks because I don't want to give myself too much leeway and end up slipping into being a little too, I guess, chill with the Artist's Way, because then that kind of defeats the purpose of it for me. But also, and I do want to note this because I had this conversation with my friend, if doing the artist date or an Artist's Way task for some reason becomes so big or too time consuming that it's taking away from doing the thing that you're trying to do more of through the Artist's Way, then that thing becomes the priority. So let's just say you really want to become better at public speaking and you're struggling so much at it, and something pops up, an opportunity where you can go to, let's just say, an open mic night at a local cafe, but it's right exactly during the time that you would do your artist date, and you have to pick, go to the cafe and do the open mic night, because that's going to be more conducive to the progress than the artist date in that scenario, right? So don't let the Artist's Way get in the way of you doing the thing that you're doing the Artist's Way for, okay? I think that that's like the the biggest like exception to the rules. And some people might say, no, there's no exception, blah, 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 whatever. I think if you start doing the thing that you needed the artist way for, you can completely stop doing the artist way and just do that thing, because that's the whole point of you doing the artist way in the first place, right? And you can always pick up the artist way whenever the fuck you want, versus you having the courage, the gusto, and the opportunities to do that thing. Who knows, right? A lot of the times we feel very like, hell yeah, I'm fucking fearless, I got it right now, the energy is there. We want to capitalize and bank on that energy so that it doesn't require so much mental gymnastics and so much struggle mentally and emotionally and on the fucking nervous system, right? We don't want to go through unnecessary difficulties, especially when it's something that we know we're trying to get really high up on, really far. Like if it's the beginning of the journey, like why are we struggling so much in the beginning of the journey? For what? What are we trying to prove? Like, yeah. Anyways, so come to find out, I needed to stop recording because I remembered I hadn't even packed my hiking shoes, and I tried to resume recording. However, I didn't find my hiking shoes, so that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna get back on here, but I do want to get back on here to talk about week 2 because I do have some thoughts I want to share. I just don't know when I'm going to record it. I don't know if I'm going to be on the road or if I'm already going to be in Yosemite. Not sure. I'm also going to be helping driving. So yeah, I don't know, but wanted to say that before I completely just stop talking and cut it off. We just made it, but homegirl can't find the passcode. Shut up. Fucking cat. Oh, I wish they could see the stars. There's nothing you could see with this camera. I'm filming myself right now. And I just wanted to do an intro to the sequel to the last Blair Witch Project. Just kidding. Oh, fuck no. You guys play too fucking much, right? I've never seen a stove like this. Can you work that, Pablo? Can you work that stove? Or are you gonna have to think about it?
There's some critical.
Okay, so I hope the lighting isn't super spooky, but also we are in a cabin, so it is what it is. I'm gonna try to not be super loud because people are sleeping, and I feel like I didn't properly introduce week 2, and it was kind of all over the place, and this is still not gonna be perfect. But I did want to say that week 2's main focus is to truly find out what your identity is. And Julia tackles this by having you question why you do certain things, to see where they're rooted from, to find out if they're truly yours. And this is something that I think we all have struggled with in the past. Whether we dig into this on purpose or by accident, I think it's something to revisit every now and then, just to make sure we're headed in the right direction, or the direction that aligns with the things that we're trying to bring into our life, our goals, right? There's also these rules of the road that I really enjoyed reading, and that she puts at the end of the week 2 reading. And I think I'm going to read those off, but I'm going to save that for next week's vlogs. So the vlog for week 2. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say. I'm just going to let the rest of the stuff that I shared about week 2 roll now.
but I realized I just went headfirst into it without really saying much else. But that's all really that I needed to say. I'm gonna go to bed now.
Anyways, she then also brings up this whole, does she call it crazy maker?
Yeah, she calls them crazy makers, which are people that bring chaos into your life and that make things harder. And then she gets really, like, she goes to the extreme of it. Like, she goes to the extreme as to talk about how, for example, if you're trying to like work on the last class in order for you to graduate and get your degree, the crazy maker would hit you up and be like, hey, I know that you said you're going to be really busy and you're going to be studying for that final to pass that class to get your degree. However, I need you to come and help me right now, because if you don't, then I'm going to lose my shit. So it's someone that makes it about them when it doesn't need to be about them, and they do it all the time, and it's never anybody else's turn. She has some other examples in there, but that's like the premise of it. And then she asks you to look for who those people are and then wonder why you're letting them still be in your life and take away that energy and time that you could be putting towards your creative self, life, practice, or endeavors. Then she says the reason that she wants you to find out who they are is so that you also start hopefully putting up some boundaries there. And then she says, and this is, I think, what my favorite part was about the whole crazy makers like spiel, because she goes on and on about it, which I'm just kind of like, okay, I get it. But some people need to hear a bunch of different scenarios to get it. So I get that too. But at the end, she's basically saying, ask yourself why you have those people in your life, because most of the time you have them in your life because you are also crazy and you need them as an excuse to not do the thing you say you've been wanting to do. Because when they're not there, you actually have to face that thing and do it. And that's probably what I think the biggest nugget of wisdom was in that whole conversation. But I understand she needed to drive that point home, whatever. So the main idea, or I want to say the way that she wants us to really find our identity, is by pushing skepticism to get us to be more open-minded about trying things that we've held ourselves back from trying, that would further create our idealized self so that we can fully be living in our true identity. And I don't know if I appreciated how genius this feels. And I don't know if I'm thinking that because it's 2 a.m, but it feels pretty genius. And I'm like, yes, girl, work. I also read a few of the tasks, and I think, and I remember this from last time, that these tasks feel like they're a lot easier than week 1's tasks. However, it feels like there's more of them, but I feel like I can knock them out after I do my morning pages. I am planning to wake up earlier than everybody here because I want to have time without rushing I'm gonna shower right now so that I don't have to shower in the morning, to do my makeup, get ready, make my breakfast, do my morning pages, and then prepare our to-go lunches, because tomorrow we're going to be going into Yosemite. But I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I'm probably going to... Yeah, I think I said everything that I had to say, because this is supposed to be a primer for week 2. And I'm starting week 2 tomorrow, and I'm going to be in Yosemite for the following few days. So this is what it's going to be. I've already talked about my plan to tackle it while I'm here. And I already said where I was going to do my artist date. So I feel like that's all. But this has been a weird transition, I feel, into the second week. And it was weird that it started within my first week. And I think that's why it also felt pretty chaotic. But so far, I've been surviving. And I'm just going to try to keep doing it, because I do feel like being on this journey where I'm actively pursuing doing the artist way and completing it while I have all these other things going on is also a part of pushing myself and showing myself how bad I want this next thing that I'm pursuing. Yeah, I keep on wanting to talk more, but I think it's because I'm excited for the tasks, but I'm like, I'm gonna wait that. I'm gonna wait to share those things more like vlog style for the next video. And if I end up having to make 2 videos, then it is what it is. I don't think I care that it's long though. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week.